conclusion when you know that 2017, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto had about 172 members of parliament. They had 82 members of parliament. So if we talk about bitterness, these people caused a war within parliament and outside parliament, the streets eventually ending up in Uhuru Park to forcibly swear Raila Odinga and then leave Miguna suffering in Canada. And today, if Uhuru Kenyatta, by the way, that time, Uhuru Kenyatta, I think an angel must have spoken to him so that no police were sent to disrupt the swearing in, you know, for His Excellency, Raila Odinga. That would have been the worst bloodshed. They don't care about bloodshed. Jeff, so let her not talk about
Jeff, I think
bitterness.
When I spoke about bitterness, you have seen it. Kenyans have seen it. We fought for a government. Some people have come to
what? Yes, we did.
Well, that is the source of bitterness. So I wasn't lying. It was factual. And Kenyans have been able to, Alice has demonstrated to Kenyans that they are bitter, and she has also gone ahead and explained why they are bitter. I take responsibility for my actions in the last regime. We were opposing each other. And when you are in political opposition, sometimes words are spoken. Sometimes things are done. But then the difference is, do you have the magnanimity? Even Uhuru and Raila, they spoke words against each other, but they had the magnanimity to shake hands and say, my brother, the things that we said in the past are in the past. Let us now look for the future of this country. My fear is, are the Uda team, with the kind of bitterness they have displayed here, because I'm chair of Finance Committee. Chair of Finance Committee, it is not written anywhere in the Constitution, neither is it in the standing orders under the current Constitution, that a person from the minority cannot chair a committee. Committee elections are held within the committees, and of course the parties participate, and somebody is elected. But now Alice is bitter because Wanga, who was opposing President Uhuru, is chair of Finance Committee. She should just be magnanimous to say, once a government is elected, it is a government for all Kenyans. And therefore, all of us have room within the government. But you see, the kind of bitterness she has displayed for a government in which we are not, because where is the single minister appointed by Raila Odinga in this government? Where is the single even anything? So the bitterness is just because somebody else is facing anything. Because according to the Uda philosophy, only a certain group of people, and I already mentioned it with William Ruto in the first term, you saw, only a certain clique of community was taken. Only a certain group should, and when that doesn't happen, this bitterness arises. It's not just Alice. The danger is it's even with her party leader. And Kenyans must be worried a lot. What if this bitter lot take over government? They will revenge. There will be vengeance. People will disappear. People will be arrested. And so on and so forth. And therefore, this is why we in Azimio have said, by all means we are gathering all and scattering none. There is going to be a movement that is going to take Kenyans to the next level. And we are clear on our issues. We know we are an anti-corruption movement. When Alice talks about robbed opportunities, it's because, when she talks about debt, it's because of the kind of Aror Kimwarer kind of things that William Ruto defended publicly, and that is where we lost money. We are clear on our stand on devolution. Are they clear on theirs? Let me tell you why they are not. Because William Ruto has chaired IBEC. IBEC is the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council. I sat in it, representing the Parliamentary Service Commission. William Ruto was always the first to say, reduce allocation, reduce allocation. He chairs that IBEC up to today, and devolution is struggling. Therefore, their stand on devolution is not clear, and that is why you saw 35 governors supporting Raila Odinga. Why? Because in their minds, they know Raila Odinga is the father of devolution, and he's clear about what he wants to do about devolution. Okay. Raila Odinga is clear on how he's going to protect the constitution that he fought for. We can be sure William Ruto will dismantle the constitution that he so opposed.
Okay. Jeff, for the last 4 years...
Hold on. He's not here to defend himself.
I think so. I think so, yeah.
But go ahead.
But for the last 4 years, this country has done very little other than the BBI change the constitution. One of the reasons that we cannot be happy with the manner in which the government has been run is because there was a manifesto, Jeff. And if you go through the manifesto of Jubilee, there was nowhere we had said we shall then partner as a government with the opposition. And the failure to partner or lack of that partnership does not mean you will not serve Kenyans. You know, a government is formed for the whole country, but the opposition has, in our governance, you know, because we are a democracy, we have a constitution, we have the laws, and they know they are a minority party. And therefore, their roles are very clear within the constitution, not to come and sabotage the government. And I don't understand how actually His Excellency fell into that trap. Because for the last 4 years, his Big Four agenda has collapsed because they have been singing and dancing and doing all manner of illegalities as it was found by the High Court and the Court of Appeal. They are now hoping the Supreme Court will come like an angel and deliver the dead BBI. We are waiting as Kenyans, but they should be telling us why the BBI and what can they not do today without a BBI. Devolution, Jeff, our constitution talks about 15% being the minimum that you should give to the counties as an allocation. Today, she's in finance. Her colleague, Kanini Kega, is in budget. Why from the time the BBI looked like it may not work, even when we were trying to move along with it, at least they could have brought the budget last year and this year and give the 35% they are talking about. Some of these things are administrative, you know. So you know, tusidanganyane, let's not lie to Kenyans. The many things, several things that were in the BBI, including the boundaries. We can do boundaries without any change of the constitution because they talk about increasing money for the counties. But we can do boundaries today.
Jeff, you know,
hold on.
It may not work between now and the elections, but there's nothing that stops the IBC after doing the elections to draw boundaries afresh. But you see, you don't have to sneak boundaries without Kenyans publicly participating and agreeing that these boundaries are okay.
Jeff, what Alice is talking about boundaries, and let me start there.
Without getting too much into the
details, mathematics.
Yeah, too much of it, right? The question is, Mahesh here just said the handshake was a trap. That's what she says.
The handshake was what this country needed to move forward. But because UDA always saw this thing in the perspective of 2022, they saw it as a trap. How could it have been a trap? Raila Odinga is not in government. He's not calling any shots. William Ruto is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. He should serve his leader and boss faithfully. But he decided that 2022 was most important. So, Jeff, if you remember where the grapes started getting sour was when the president was very clear that I want to move forward with building my legacy and I want elections to start, campaigning for elections to start a bit later. But immediately we hit 2018, William Ruto was on the campaign trail. And even though the president said no, he insisted and kept on and kept on and kept on. And now the presidency is elusive just because he had. Because when you agree, when you're in a government, and there must be a leader of a government, and in this case it's the president. The deputy president is not a co-president. He is the principal assistant of the president. And therefore, if he's the principal assistant of the president, he should, if the president says, slow down on early campaigns. In fact, the president had said, you just help me do the work. I might be the one to actually, when the time comes, campaign for you personally. But he didn't listen. And therefore, parts started to go aside. And I wanted to say something about the 35%. And I'd already said about the chair of IBEC. If any proposals were made to increase funding for counties from IBEC, I want to see the record. It has never been made. I sat in IBEC myself for 5 years. There was never a day that a proposal was made to increase the money. And Jeff, human nature, if you're told this is the minimum, you're likely to stick to that minimum. And that is why there was need for a constitutional amendment to move it to a threshold of 35%. The issue Alice is saying about boundaries. Boundaries were, and if you look at the BBI, were meant to bring about equality of the vote, so that the weight of Alice's vote or somebody from Kiambu has the same, that vote has the same weight with somebody from another part of the country. And the way the delimitation was done, because the BBI was about correcting historical injustices, and it was all over the country because the views were taken all over the country. And people from certain parts of this country said, look, we vote, and in my constituency, I am voted by 400,000, 300,000, 100,000, 150,000 people. Another constituency is voted by 4,000 people. You sit in the same parliament with the same amount of CDF. Nakuru, just in the BBI, lost 5 constituencies. Kiambu lost a huge number of constituencies. There were constituencies that were meant, and the people who say are their representatives and their friends are the same ones who fought the BBI and sit here to say they protect them.
Okay, but
you know, Jeff, dishonesty is very, it's a bad habit, and I think for some people it dies. It doesn't die quickly. She knows she's in the finance committee. Changing the amount of money that constituencies get actually is a matter of her committee and the committee on CDF, because we have 2 parliamentary committees on that, on monies, because the budget committee, there is also the CDF committee and the finance committee. Those 3 committees, working with the National Treasury, can be able to effect changes into how much each constituency is getting. The parliament is there available to do that.
Yeah, but she's not the only one. She's part of a
that's why I
committee.
say that is why I said she's the chair with Kanini Kega and the other, and I think Maoka Maore for CDF. Those 3 committees, together with the Treasury, are sufficient to make proposals and bring them to the floor of the House. And we allow CDF to be distributed according to the number of, of the population quota.
Okay.
Then when you come to the question of CDF, the devolution that Baba prides himself in, we have the handshake. You have seen how when they are interested in things, they are moving there quickly, and they say they have the numbers. Bring the law, then we pass. Actually, those are just simple proposals. Some of them are administrative. Today, we can budget for more, but because it was not meant to be. These were goodies and icing on the cake. The real elephant was the seat of the Prime Minister that collapsed so that the BBI didn't even have that one. Finally, Jeff, we were looking for 3 extra seats. Yep. The whole BBI was about 3 extra seats. Today, if they are serious and they have the money, we don't have the money, Jeff. We are broke. We don't have the money.
Yeah, but Jeff,
we don't have the money, so we can't afford 35%.
Let me say something about the constituencies, because the manner in which Alice is trivializing it is surprising to me. She knows that the formula for CDF has been worked out and the House has passed it. But what BBI was trying to do was not to deal with the formula for CDF, was to delimit boundaries so that there is equality of the vote. A constituency is not just for purposes of, CDF alone. A constituency means those people have now a representative. People now who are represented by 1 person are now going to be represented by 5 people. When the army is
let's deal with the money first. You see, Kenyans, Jeff, Kenyans can't even afford the number of members of parliament, Jeff.
She let you speak.
You see the numbers right now. We have 349 in the National Assembly. Instead of increasing members of parliament, because honestly, she can even represent the whole of Homa Bay. She is already representing Homa Bay. If she were given money as a member of parliament for Homa Bay, she can be able to tackle even representation. Some of these constituencies were even gerrymandered, and that's how they were created. They should be going away. We increase the money because, people are not looking for representatives. That's not where the problem is.
No, Alice is not letting me make my point because it's a valid point in this sense. When you have a constituency, you have a center for administration there. You have security closer to you. When KDF soldiers are being taken, they are taken at that constituency's headquarters. What is happening now, and I don't mind the size of the constituency, let it just be the same for everybody. so that there is equality of the vote. It is so important that one person's vote weighs the same as another person's vote. And that is what Kenyans spoke as historical injustices.
Yeah.
And therefore, I do not understand why Alice Wahome, who represents Kandara constituency and Murang'a County, and who is a leader of the Central Kenya, would reject 20 constituencies going to Central, so that their people would access services closer, so that their people would get more bursaries. Some constituencies can give bursaries up to university level. Other constituencies are giving 3,000 to every person. Equality of the vote is an important principle that Alice and their team killed in the BBI.
About?
Okay.
Administrative boundaries, one constituency can have more than one sub-county.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
at the end of the day, can we afford?
Didn't reggae stop?
Yeah, it stopped.
Reggae paused, so reggae paused.
It stopped.
Reggae is on halftime, and reggae shall be back.
Does that mean BBI will come back in a way?
Reggae will be back, Jeff. Reggae will be danced. And this nation is here. And the benefits of the BBI for the people of this nation will be realized. Because that was the voice of the people. And Vox Populi, Vox Dei. The voice of the people is the voice of God.
If you're doing a constitution, Jeff, it is so critical and important that you don't appear like you are forcing people and you are saying it is a good thing for them. Ensure that participation and consultations of every other person, not key people, even key people were not involved, but every other Kenyan requires to be heard. Documentation was not available. There was no law guiding the documentation, even the process. I mean, the whole thing was backward. We were just dancing. They were just dancing leggy. And that's why they found so many hurdles in court. Jeff, and there were some good things, maybe one or two good things there. Mm. But you see, the way it was convoluted, including things that you did not need to go to the referendum, mainly because they wanted to create more positions so that they can balkanize the country. That's what they are looking for.
Balkanize the country, how?
Okay, on that note, we'll put, just like reggae is on pause, we're going to take a pause, okay? And come back and talk some more about your individual interests as well. You want to be governor. We haven't heard much about that. Why? Why now? You think there's only been 3 women governors so far?
Yeah. And
more.
Jeff, the book of Ecclesiastes talks about
more.
There's a time for everything, and it's a time for more women to be governors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
She has worked very hard. I hope Baba, in their party, it's also a lot. Loyalty also is a very key thing.